What happened?
Well, when they got me to where they were going to shoot, they're ready for you.
There was a beauty that emerged from the glitz and glamour of Hollywood's golden age. During the 1960s, Angie Dickinson exemplified the qualities of elegance and beauty. On the other hand, beneath the breathtaking smile and penetrating gaze was a woman who was multifaceted and legendary. Angie Dickinson defied convention wherever she went, from the streets of North Dakota, which were bathed in sunlight, to the bright lights of Hollywood. At the same time, she was a woman of unrepentant passion, unyielding ambition, and unwavering bravery. What is it that lies beyond the captivating charm and the recognizable smile? What are the secrets that this sweetheart of the United States of America keeps hidden behind closed doors? Come along with us as we uncover the story of Angie Dickinson, a true Hollywood legend that has never been told before. The woman who refused to be defined is hidden behind all of the scandals and glamour that have surrounded her. Angie Dickinson. Angie Dickinson is a Hollywood icon and accomplished actress who has been able to successfully captivate audiences with her remarkable range and versatility. Over the course of her career, Dickinson has played a variety of roles, beginning with her breakthrough performance in Rio Bravo in 1959, and culminating in her iconic portrayal of Sergeant Pepper Anderson in Policewoman from 1974 to 1978. On the other hand, Angie Dickinson's private life has been shrouded in mystery for a very long time, despite all of the glitz and praise she has received. It has been widely reported that she has been involved in a number of high-profile relationships, including her marriage to Jean Dickinson and her romantic involvement with Frank Sinatra. All of a sudden, Angie Dickinson has made the decision to reveal the full truth about her life, and she is prepared to reveal everything. The long-awaited revelation of Angie Dickinson's most personal struggles and victories comes after she has remained silent for almost 3 decades. But before we get to that, let's take a moment to review Angie Dickinson and the early heartbreaks that helped shape her into the woman she portrayed on the television screen. We'll also discuss how she rose to fame in her career, which is both legendary and groundbreaking. Ensure that you remain glued to your screen as I take you on an honest journey through the extraordinary life she has led. Angeline Brown originally gave birth to Angie Dickinson, but her family and friends referred to her as Angie. Angie Dickinson was the middle daughter of 3 younger sisters. She was the daughter of Frederica Ney Hare and Leo Henry Brown, and she was born on September 30th, 1931, in the town of Coombe, North Dakota. Her parents were from the state of North Dakota. The original surname of the family was Brown, and both of the parents were of German descent. Angie was brought up in the Roman Catholic faith. Her father was a publisher and editor for a newspaper. He worked for the Coombe Messenger and the Edgeley Mail, both of which were published in a small town. Because her father worked as a projectionist at the town's only movie theater up until the time that it burned down, she developed an early passion for the motion picture industry. In 1942, when she was only 10 years old, the Brown family relocated to Burbank, which is located in the state of California. Angie received her high school diploma from Bellarmine Jefferson in 1947, when she was 15 years old while she was there. She was the victor in the 6th annual essay competition on the Bill of Rights. After that, Angie attended Immaculate Heart College in Los Angeles and Glendale Community College, and by 1954, she had established herself as a successful business graduate. Taking a cue from her father, who was a publisher, she had always intended to pursue a career in writing. A secretarial career was the path that Angie Dickinson chose to pursue after she received her diploma from business college in the year 1954. Her desire to be creative, on the other hand, led her to investigate acting very quickly. 1954 was the year that Angie Dickinson started taking drama classes, which was the beginning of her journey towards achieving success in the future. In order to hone her craft alongside other aspiring actors, she became a member of the Pasadena Playhouse. A television role on the popular series Matinee Theater was Angie's big break in 1956. This was the year that she made her debut on the big screen. Several television shows, including Dragnet and City Detective, have given her recurring roles as a result of her captivating performances. After making her debut in the film Lucky Me in 1957, Angie went on to make appearances in the films Cry Terror in 1958 and Rio Bravo in 1959 on subsequent occasions. Almost immediately, Angie became a highly sought-after actress in the acting world due to her tremendous talent and striking beauty. Over the course of the 1960s, Angie Dickinson's career took off like a rocket. Film roles of a high caliber were offered to her. Her collaborations with well-known directors such as John Huston and Don Siegel helped to strengthen her reputation as an actor who is both brilliant and diverse. At this point in time, Angie Dickinson's career in television was experiencing rapid growth as a result of her legendary performance as Sergeant Leanne Pepper Anderson in the television series Policewoman, which aired from 1974 to 1978. She became a well-known figure in the public consciousness. The success of the show resulted in her receiving a multitude of awards and nominations, and it also paved the way for subsequent generations of dramas that were led by women. Angie has demonstrated her versatility throughout her extensive career by deftly transitioning between film and television, drama and comedy, and demonstrating her dedication to her craft every step of the way. Angie had already established herself as a rising star by the time the 1950s came to a close. Her notoriety brought her opportunities, attention, and temptations all at once. To what extent, however, would Angie Dickinson's private life qualify as her most dramatic role to date? Well, let's find out. The marriage and affairs of Angie Dickinson led a life that was quite fascinating and captivating when she was not involved in the entertainment industry. In 1952, she tied the knot with Gene Dickinson, who would become her first husband. He was a gifted athlete who played football at the University of Wyoming and later went on to play professionally for the Los Angeles Rams. He was born on June 17, 1927, and he was a talented athlete. Gene Dickinson made the transition from football to sales and marketing after he had retired from the sport for a number of years. Angie Dickinson was enthralled by his charisma and charm, and the two of them eventually tied the knot in the year 1952. Angie Dickinson's acting career flourished during the 8 years that they were married to each other. In addition, Gene Dickinson was influential in her early success. On the other hand, their marriage was terminated in 1960 due to the fact that they had irreconcilable differences and Gene had a difficult time adjusting to Angie's growing fame. Following the conclusion of the divorce proceedings, her now ex-husband Gene Dickinson withdrew from public life, choosing instead to lead a private life away from the glitz and glamour of Hollywood. Eventually, on February 20th, 1993, he passed away from his illness. The divorce that Angie Dickinson went through did not prevent her from looking for love and companionship. Nevertheless, she tied the knot with the composer Burt Bacharach in 1965, and that same year, in 1966, she gave birth to their daughter, Nikki Bacharach. Despite the fact that she was married to Burt Bacharach, she continued to use the name Dickinson associated with her ex-husband. In 1980, after a few years had passed, Angie Bacharach and Burt Bacharach divorced. Despite the fact that she was already divorced, Angie Dickinson continued her acting career with a renewed passion. Her determination to accomplish a great deal resulted in her landing notable roles in films such as Death Hunt, 1981, and Big Bad Mama, 2, 1987, thereby establishing her reputation as an actress who can perform a variety of roles. The relationship that Angie had with Frank Sinatra, the legendary entertainer, is considered to be one of the most notable relationships in her life. During the 1960s, when Angie Bacharach was still married to Burt Bacharach, she began a romantic relationship with Francis Sinatra. I have a lot of doubts about when exactly they started having an affair. Nevertheless, it all began as a friendship, and it eventually developed into a lovely romantic relationship. Angie's intelligence, beauty, and wit captivated Frank Sinatra, who was captivated by her. It was mutual respect and admiration for each other's abilities that served as the driving force behind their connection. Due to the fact that Frank Sinatra was still married to his wife, Mia Farrow, at the time of this affair, it was not without controversy. Their relationship remained private, and they made sporadic appearances in public, which continued to generate rumors and speculation. This relationship lasted for a couple of years at a time, in spite of the fact that it came to an end. Angie and Frank continued to be close friends until the latter's death in 1998. The next significant relationship that Angie had was with John F. Kennedy. Immediately following her attendance at a private inauguration party, where individuals asserted that they witnessed them engaging in intimate behavior, rumors began to circulate regarding the romantic relationship. In an interview that took place in 1993 with Entertainment Weekly, Angie Dickinson admitted that she did not enjoy lying, but she also did not want to directly address the rumors. She did this in order to give the impression that there was some truth to the speculation. The love affair that Angie Dickinson had with John F. Her relationship with Kennedy came to an end, and she continued to navigate the complexities of her independent life. Despite the fact that Angie Dickinson's relationship with John F. Kennedy came to an end, her personal life continued to serve as a source of motivation for the nation. Her subsequent relationships, most notably the one she had with baseball legend Joe DiMaggio, garnered a lot of attention. The media narrative that frequently overshadowed her remarkable career was fueled by this piece of information. On the other hand, Angie Dickinson's story goes far beyond what is printed in the headlines. In spite of the significant amount of attention that was focused on her private life, she managed to keep her independence and individuality intact, refusing to be defined solely by the romantic relationships she had. In addition, Angie Dickinson was able to acquire a unique perspective on the intersection of celebrity, power, and personal relationships as a result of her participation in high-profile relationships. Despite the complexities of her romantic life, she managed to handle them with grace and poise, never compromising her principles or her independence. Continue to watch as we reveal her walk while she is in Hollywood. The journey that Angie Dickinson took through Hollywood after appearing in a television series and the mini-film Pearl, which was released in 1978 and was about the bombing of Pearl Harbor in 1941, Dickinson's career in feature films appeared to be on the decline. However, she made her return to the big screen in the 1980 film Dressed to Kill, an erotic thriller directed by Brian De Palma. It was for this film that she gained a significant amount of attention, particularly for a lengthy and silent scene that took place in a museum before the character met her end. She was awarded the Saturn Award for Best Actress in 1981 for her performance as Kate Miller, a New York housewife who was both frustrated and angry. In 1981, Angie played a less significant role in Death Hunt, which brought her back together with Lee Marvin, according to an article that was published in the New York Times Review by Vincent Canby on July 25th. The Curse of the Dragon Queen and Charlie Chan were two of the other films in which she appeared. Prior to the beginning of that year, she had been the initial selection to play the role of Crystal Carrington on the television series Dynasty. On the other hand, she declined the offer because she wanted to spend more time with her daughter. As a result, Linda Evans was cast in the role rather than receiving the opportunity. Following the production of only 2 episodes of her own potential sitcom, The Angie Dickinson Show, which was produced by Johnny Carson, Angie Dickinson declined the opportunity to star in the show in the year 1980. It was her unsuccessful attempt at a comeback on television, and she stated that she did not believe she was funny enough. The Private Eye series Cassie and Company was her attempt at a comeback on television. After that, Angie Dickinson went on to star in a number of television films, including One Shoe Makes It Murder in the year 1982, Jealousy in the year 1984, A Touch of Scandal in the year 1984, and Still Watch in the year 1987. Angie Dickinson made an appearance in 2 of Perry Como's Christmas specials for the ABC television network in the years 1982 and 1986. In both of these specials, she did something that she had not been known to have done prior to signing with the network. After that, Angie Dickinson denied that she had performed in front of the camera since the 2 Como specials. This denial was made in an interview with Larry King, which King conducted around the same time that she began performing duets. Due to the significant contributions she has made to Western cinema, she was honored with one of the Golden Boot Awards in the year 2009. In the 1993 ABC miniseries Wild Palms, which was produced by Oliver Stone, she played the role of Senator Tony Kreutzer's sister, who was portrayed by Robert Loggia. She was a sadistic and militant individual. Even Cowgirls Get the Blues, directed by Gus Van Sant and starring Uma Thurman, was released in the same year, and she played the role of a ruthless Montana spa owner. In the month of November of that year, she refused to take part in a This Is Your Life special that was being produced for her. She walked off the set of the potential special. In 1995, Sidney Pollack cast her in the role of the potential mother-in-law of Greg Kinnear in the romantic comedy Sabrina, which was a remake of the classic Billy Wilder film. Harrison Ford played the lead role. It was in the thriller The Maddening that she played the role of Burt Reynolds' wife, and in the National Lampoon comedy The Don's Analyst, she played the role of the mother of Rick Aiello and Robert Cicchini. Artie and Angie and Hank and Hercules was the title of an episode of The Larry Sanders Show that aired on HBO in 1997. In this episode, she was the one who seduced Old Flame Artie. She made a brief cameo appearance in the movie and remake of Ocean's 11, which was released 40 years after she had appeared in the original film, alongside her close friends Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin. The remake also featured George Clooney and Brad Pitt. Additionally, she was a contestant on the second season of Bravo's Celebrity Poker Showdown, which took place during the summer of 2014. In addition, Dickinson made an appearance in the comedy Elvis Has Left the Building in the year 2004, playing the role of an ex-mechanic who was also the mother of the character played by Kim Basinger. In 2009, Angie Dickinson's career in Hollywood reached its pinnacle with the film Mending Fences, in which she co-starred alongside Laura Leighton. However, beneath all of this glitz and glamour, a secret story was revealed. Angie Dickinson finally comes out of the shadows where she has spent her entire life hiding. A revelation of the truth is about to take place. But do you have the capacity to deal with the revelations that will completely transform everything? Her stories are motivational because she came from a humble background and went on to become a well-known actress starting from her childhood. It is remarkable how Angie Dickinson rose to prominence in Hollywood. There were times when her own professional accomplishments were overshadowed by the attention of the media and the public's interest in his personal life. The marriage and relationship of Angie Dickinson were under constant surveillance, and her every action was observed and analyzed by those who were following her. The perception of the public frequently tends to distort reality, which in turn creates expectations and pressures that are not realistic. Angie Dickinson's self-esteem suffered as a consequence of this lack of purpose, which also led to feelings of indifference and feeling like she had failed. The interviews she gave revealed that she was experiencing feelings of insecurity and fear of publicity. His pursuit of originality was in direct opposition to his corporate ambitions, and he struggled to strike a balance between his artistic vision and the commercial appeal of his work. The subject of Angie Dickinson's work was further troubled by the gender attitudes that were prevalent in Hollywood during the 1960s and 1970s. It is common practice to reduce actresses to their physical appearance, while their talent and range are frequently ignored. Similar difficulties were encountered by Dickinson, who was criticized by critics and audiences who were more interested in her friendly screen presence than in her acting abilities. In spite of everything, the fact that she was able to play a powerful role in Policewoman was a pivotal moment in her career. Her ability to go beyond the font and show her range was made possible by the success of the show, which allowed her to regain some of the things that she had lost between the glitz and the screening. Angie Dickinson's life came to an end as a result of the consequences of her meteoric rise to fame. The reviews progressed in tandem with her growing popularity. Every single facet of her life, from the relationship she had to the challenges she faced, became material for the media and the general public to discuss. In terms of her mental health, Angie Dickinson suffered as a result of the constant attention and influence she received. She was under the impression that she was confined to a fish tank, and that her every action was being observed and evaluated. Unable to maintain her identity due to a lack of privacy, she struggles to differentiate between her human nature and her identity. This makes it difficult for her to maintain her identity. Dramatizing the issue is something that the media does on a regular basis. The relationship and marriage of Angie Dickinson were the subject of media attention. Every single aspect was scrutinized. A culture of voyeurism emerged as a result of the public's willingness to engage in gossip and ridicule, which resulted in Angie Dickinson becoming an object of various forms of exploitation. Due to the lack of privacy, Dickinson's relationships were negatively impacted. A good example of this is her marriage to Gene Dickinson, which was plagued by allegations of infidelity and intense scrutiny from the media. Because of the constant focus, it was difficult for her to form genuine relationships, and she had a hard time trusting other people when she was going through a difficult time. Over the course of her brilliant career, Angie Dickinson has frequently been overshadowed by rumors and scandals. His personal and professional life were both put in jeopardy as a result of the media's insatiable appetite for glamour. which caused a storm of speculation. The relationship that Angie Dickinson had with Frank Sinatra is, without a doubt, one of the most enduring stories about her. Both their on-screen chemistry and their friendship contributed to the growth of these rumors. It was during the time that she was married to Gene Dickinson that she was plagued by rumors of adultery and marital discord. Angie Dickinson, on the other hand, refuted these rumors and lauded the romantic relationship between the two of them. Angie Dickinson's marriage to Gene Dickinson was another piece of news that was disseminated by the Heralds. As a result of gossip, their relationship was put under strain by allegations of adultery and discord within the marriage. As she struggled to maintain some semblance of normalcy in the midst of the turmoil, Dickinson's mental health suffered as a result of the constant scrutiny she was subjected to. These negative effects on Dickinson's personal life were further exacerbated by the patriarchal attitudes that prevailed during that era. In addition to having their lives scrutinized, famous women were held to standards that were impossible to achieve. Angie Dickinson was subjected to criticism regarding her appearance, relationships, and lifestyle choices, all of which continued to be judged and put under the microscope. Angie Dickinson was able to solidify her legacy as a leading actress by remaining in a state of passion and remaining true to who she was despite the difficulties she faced. Given her reckless and violent nature, Angie Dickinson is frequently the subject of controversy. A number of critics felt that her well-known costumes from Rio Bravo, which was performed in the year 1959, were excessively racist. The appearance of the woman, as well as the fact that she had short hair, sparked a discussion about the place of women in society. Those who were critical of her referred to her as a gender icon, minimized her abilities, and concentrated on her physical appearance. During her protest, Angie Dickinson argued that she had the right to express herself freely. The idea that a woman should dress for herself and not for other people is something that I have always held. I am not attempting to be offensive. It is just me. The same level of scrutiny was applied to his private life. In addition, Angie Dickinson's way of life was subject to criticism. She was considered unprofessional due to the fact that she was a celibate woman, and her advocacy for women's causes was a point of contention. Concerning the personality of Angie Dickinson, eyebrows and whispers were raised. What I wanted to do has been accomplished. The expectations that others have of me are not met by me. Despite the fact that I am a strong woman, I do not apologize for it. Intensity of scrutiny is demonstrated by the distinctive characteristics. At the 1964 awards ceremony, Angie Dickinson was criticized for wearing a dress that was considered to be too revealing. These events illustrate the unrelenting pressure that Angie Dickinson was subjected to, but she refused to conform to the established norms. Despite the constant pressure and scrutiny, Angie Dickinson did not conform to the cultural norms that were prevalent at the time. Her unwavering commitment to her ideas and principles served as an inspiration to women and members of underrepresented groups all over the world. Because of her status as a Hollywood legend, Angie Dickinson was accustomed to the intense scrutiny of the media, which scrutinized every aspect of her life. On the other hand, she made the decision to not accept the current state of affairs and instead made use of her platform to challenge the norms of society and advocate for political reform. The determination that Angie Dickinson had to forge her own path inspired a great number of people to do the same. Women who are looking for equality, fairness, and the opportunity to express themselves are impacted by her legacy. Nevertheless, in the year 2007, Angie's life took a turn that was absolutely devastating. Nikki Bacharach, her daughter, experienced a great deal of difficulty due to Asperger's syndrome, and she passed away at the age of 40. The passing of Nikki, which was a significant turning point in Angie's life, had a profound impact on her overall state of being. Will the memory of her daughter serve as the impetus for Angie's next chapter? Well, let's find out. The unbearable loss. The passing of Angie Dickinson's daughter, Nikki, who was 40 years old at the time, in the year 2007, brought about a profound difference in her life. Angie explained that the loss of a child is comparable to the loss of a part of oneself. Despite the fact that it is a pain that never truly disappears, you eventually learn to live with it. In the summer of 1966, Dickinson's daughter, with composer Burt Bacharach, Nikki Bacharach, was born 3 months earlier than expected. 1 pound and 10 ounces was her total weight. When the baby was found, she was immediately placed in a preemie isolation unit, and no one was permitted to touch her. A destiny that Dickinson believes was connected to the fact that her daughter had a lifelong feeling of being alone. Even medical professionals of the time were unaware of the significance of touch. You will never feel real or connected to anything if you are never held, if you are never touched, if you never hear a loving voice, and if you never get touched during those first few months. 2001, A Space Odyssey that Angie watched with her daughter, was the film that made an impression on her. According to Angie Dickinson, Nikki had the sensation of being an astronaut who had been severed from the crew and was floating in space. In every single moment of their lives, children who have autism experience this sensation. At the age of 3, Nikki developed her first words. She did, however, develop into a child who was athletic and participated in activities such as gymnastics, horseback riding, ballet, scuba diving, and swimming through her childhood. The piano was a prodigy for her when she was only 4 years old. Her behavior, however, was quite unsettling. Both the tails of her toy horses and the hair of her dolls were shaved off by her action. And on top of a dresser in her closet, she hid everything, including an old battery and dog poop, with the intention of saving it. After the birth of Nikki, Angie Dickinson remained in close proximity to her family. She was constantly ensuring that she remained connected to her by talking to her, hugging her, and ensuring that she remained in a realm of comfort and familiarity, preventing her from drifting off into space. As Nikki grew older, however, she exhibited a different behavior. Her frustration manifested itself in the form of ripping pages out of books and kicking walls. Over the course of several decades, autism was not the medical phenomenon that it is today. During the early 1970s, they were unaware of the condition known as mental retardation. Nikki Bacharach, Angie Dickinson's daughter, was a gifted child, excelling in activities like gymnastics, ballet, and piano. However, Nikki displayed troubling behaviors and struggled with social norms, traits that later suggested Asperger's syndrome. At the time, autism was poorly understood, and despite seeing psychiatrists from age 8, Nikki received little help. Dickinson and her husband, Bert Bacharach, eventually divorced, partly due to the strain of Nikki's demanding needs. In her teens, Nikki was sent to a psychiatric center, which Dickinson later regretted. There, Nikki was pressured to conform to expectations like driving, which only exacerbated her struggles. Ultimately, her diagnosis of Asperger's provided little solace, and she continued battling depression. Nikki often spoke of, and on her last Christmas Eve, Dickinson recalled her daughter singing joyfully, finding peace as she faced her final days. The loss of Nikki left Dickinson heartbroken, taking a 2-year break from acting. In 2009, she returned to the screen briefly in *Mending Fences*, portraying Grandma Ruth, a role that offered her therapeutic release. This final role became a memorable part of her legacy, symbolizing resilience and reinvention. In her retirement, Dickinson devoted herself to philanthropy, founding the Angie Dickinson Foundation for Alzheimer's Research, raising millions for patients and families. Known for her trailblazing roles in Hollywood, she inspired generations of actresses and reshaped the portrayal of strong female characters. Angie Dickinson's lasting impact on entertainment and philanthropy reminds us that a true legacy is defined by lives touched, barriers broken, and positive change inspired. Today, at 93, she reflects on her extraordinary journey with gratitude. Her story teaches us to cherish each moment, honor our loved ones, and find strength in adversity, motivating us to confront mortality and treasure our memories. The love that she had for Nikki will remain ingrained in our hearts for all time. With regard to Angie's life, what are your thoughts? I would appreciate it if you could share your thoughts in the comment section below. Be sure to click the like button and subscribe to the channel. Click on the video that is going to be displayed on your screen before you leave.